wish I were cool enough to have a punk avatar.
Hello, everyone. How's it going today?
Doing well.
Good, Will. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. Very excited for this call. I believe we have Ben, Gareth, and Sam from Metaverse DAO here. You guys there?
Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here as well.
Hey, guys. Yeah, we're stoked to have you here. Yeah, awesome. Really looking forward to this. We're going to be exploring the Metaverse tonight and more. So I guess to kick off, if you guys didn't see, we have a collaboration between Yam Finance and Metaverse DAO. We're going to be looking at all the ways we can work together, combine our skill sets, and yeah, really exciting opportunities in this space. We're also going to have a bit of an update on uPUNKS, which is launching on Yam Synths very imminently. We're actually going to start with that in a second. Just a note, there will be a POAP or POAP for attending today, which is looking super dope. So you just need to send a password that I will send to the POAP account on Discord, and it will send it to your address. And I guess we start with you guys, our guests today. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? And Metaverse DAO, of course.
Sure. So my name is Ben. We just started DAO as a collection of people who were connected through punks initially. I'll pass it over to Sam.
Hey guys, my name's Sam, one of the Metaverse DAO members. I'll let you guys introduce themselves as well, and then we can talk more about what we do.
Hey all, yeah, so it's Gareth here. So I'm interestingly the only Metaverse DAO member from the UK. So there you go. But yeah, it's good to be here and good to meet you all.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Awesome to meet you guys too.
Totally.
Awesome.
It's super fun to connect with you guys. I think what might work is if we just give a little bit of a spiel for a minute or two, if you guys are into that, about kind of what we're up to. And then we can go take a cue off the Yam tour.
Yeah, absolutely love to. Let's hear.
Perfect. So the way that I like to envision us is we're kind of like the boiler room for the metaverse. That's at least the framing, where we have a bunch of land and a growing supply of land, and we provide that land and kind of project management, event planning, building services around different enterprises that want to use the metaverse. Right now, we're just operating in crypto voxels. But the idea is that once we've kind of proven that concept out in crypto voxels, we would be able to move elsewhere as well. And we've run a few events over the last couple months. Some more notable ones was we did a show around Punk 4156's collection. And it was a sort of 4-story build with some of his art. We did a tour through there. We also did an event around the Christie's Punk Auction.
Hey, whoever just came in, please mute.
Thank you. Getting echoes. So the Super Chief Gallery in New York. We did a collaboration with them to be their kind of virtual footprint. And beyond these two gallery shows, I guess I can pass it over to Sam.
I'm gonna pick 0x. Maya, you're the one who's causing the problems.
I just muted him. That's fine.
That's fine.
It only works for you.
Oh right.
Okay. No problem.
Still getting an echo.
Xerox Maya, would you mind muting your mic for a second? Oh, okay.
He's gone. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, I think that's a little better for us. Okay, so yeah, we've done some shows, basically mostly around art at this point. We've also had some business opportunities, which Sam is better positioned to share about because he's been coordinating that. So Sam, do you want to share a little bit?
Yep, I appreciate that, Ben. Also, thank you guys for having us. Yeah, I mean, we've also been seeing how in the metaverse we're seeing e-commerce grow. It's definitely very interesting, and it's just like real life real estate. We're seeing a lot of like construction management, a lot of DAOs entering the space. A lot of crypto companies are building their metaverse presence, so we're definitely seeing an uptick there, and it's very interesting. I think we're still pretty early on, and we're very, very excited for like what's to come.
So just to add to that as well, we have sort of a technical roadmap that we are starting to define. So one of the kind of big aspirations is really to provide core products and services that allow for people in the metaverse to build. So it's quite a big space, and there's a lot of skills required to get things going, really. So what we hope to do is provide sort of baseline protocols, for example, that will make it easier to put builders with landowners, things like that, providing free voxels, public assets, really, to allow for someone who maybe has just jumped in to really build something that they envision in their head, kind of thing. So we're really early stages, but there's a lot that's on our plate, and that we really aspire to do as a DAO.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. We're stoked to see what you guys are doing, and yeah, keen to work together. Really exciting stuff. Awesome. So unless anyone else wants to introduce themselves, say hi. Should we dive into the presentation news on uPUNKS and Yam Synths, Ross?
Yes. Okay. So I should probably share my screen. Let me figure out how to do that here. Brave. Perfect. Live. All right. So hopefully you guys can all see this. Please let me know if you can't. I'm on a small screen, so hopefully this is all readable. But yeah, so here is sort of a sneak peek that we're going to do of the new Yam Synths website. I'm going to go through some of the options. This is not sort of publicly live yet. We're still working through a few issues, but they are soon to be resolved. So you can see this is our splash screen. The products that we're going to be launching with right now, these are going to be highlighted. And then as new products get added, we'll either add those here, have these as sort of our highlighted products will be on this first page. We got a cool zombie guy. We're keeping the zombie stuff, and then information about the rest of the product. Some beautiful design work by Bloku, and really nice build by Indigo here. So we can go into Explore Synths, and you guys, feel free to ask questions as I'm going through here. You sort of jump onto a initial landing page where you can pick what the different products are. Ignore the APRs right now. They are still being worked on, so they're not representative. So right now there's these two options where you can see all your synths, and then there's a portfolio view. I don't have any synths minted right now on this wallet, so this is not showing up. There are also links to the docs and whatnot. So let's go back to Explore Synths, and you can see here the uPUNKS contract is here. Oh, well, there will be graph for this. Let's do uGas. You can see the graph is up and running. It's showing the price of the asset, and then the price of the reference, which is the uGas price from the Oracle. We can then go and mint. So we'll need to mint a new position. I've already wrapped some forked mainnet ETH here. So I can do that. Let's add 30 ETH of collateral. I'm just going to make this nice 63. 30. All right. And so we have this sort of new nifty bar that's going to show you where you live in your collateral ratio. And also, as we're making changes, we'll sort of visually show you what's happening. So we'll go ahead and approve our WETH. If only gas fees were this cheap in real life, that would be amazing. You guys probably don't see maybe you do. I don't know if Brave allows MetaMask or their wallet to show up, but that's that. All right. We minted. So if only Ethereum were this fast in real life and this cheap, it would be incredible.
You don't have the latest build. Actually, I have it all
Oh, I
auto
don't.
updating. No, I'm sorry.
Do you want to drop it in the chat? We'll
Yeah,
use the latest build.
well, it's because I
can
need it.
just-
I haven't pushed it yet. That's why. But everything is auto updating, and all those
Oh,
little UI issues are fixed.
all right. Well,
Right.
you know, there's still a work in progress. Indigo is hard at work, 24/7. It seems. Blasting through all this. So what?
Just do a refresh.
Could also be my Ganache server is crashed. Nope, that's still working. Oh, there we go. Just as I leave it. This was just working. Did I not actually mint?
I think you just approved. You didn't mint.
Oh, yeah, I just approved. Okay, I'm an idiot. So it helps to not be an idiot. Ah. Might need your new version. Old version here. What's going on? Might need your new version, Indigo.
Hey Ross, I'm going. Do you guys want me to demonstrate?
Sure, that might be better.
Okay. I have a better version. Here, let me stream.
It was just working totally smoothly. I had to close Brave to do a bunch of other stuff, and as I opened it again.
It knows you're about to demonstrate, that's why it breaks.
Yeah. Sorry I had to kick you before 0x Maya. Glad you made it back in.
Yeah, so as you can see that. Oh yeah,
Here we
goes
go.
straight to Indigo stream. Awesome.
Alright, so I actually already have a position. Here you can mint however much you want. I have 990 ETH. So yeah, I could mint more. Yeah, so I can mint more positions. And here, and so you can, as you can see, like there's a resulting position that you can see as the position gets updated. You can see your collateral ratio as it's going up or down or whatever. And if I wanted to, say for example, I wanted to go past my the GCR. So right now my GCR is 4.76. If I wanted to withdraw any, it would automatically update. And the reason is it's so much easier to visualize this way. Now, if I were to withdraw, one of the things about UMA is that you have to do a slow withdrawal if you're going past your GCR. So here, if I'm just withdrawing one collateral, I'm still within the GCR. Oh, sorry, no, I'm not actually. I'm actually at GCR right now. So if I withdraw more, then it's gonna tell me that I need to request a withdrawal, and they'll give me this notice. And here I can request a withdrawal here, and okay, so it's actually supposed to update here. Let me show you. Okay, so this is a problem, but I over on the right side it'll show you how long it'll take till your withdrawal is complete. So as you can see, I can cancel my withdrawal right here, and here you can mint more if you like. You can burn, and then you can also redeem your synths as they come. So this is our new position manager. The idea is to make this a lot easier for people to be able to manage their EMP positions because we know how difficult UMA's synthetics can be. So yeah.
Can you show the portfolio page?
Sure. So here you can see your portfolio.
And
You
this
have
will
a
get
link.
populated with all the different synths that you have. You just
Yeah.
have the UGAS minted. Can
Yeah.
you mint the uPUNKS right now and show?
So uPUNKS. I mean, I could try it. I don't know. It might break. I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, I think we
I
got the
can-
general idea.
Yeah.
It's looking so awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, just a couple of clicks just to get exposure to the entire CryptoPunk market, aliens, everything, anything that sells, you're going to get exposure to. So, really interesting products, and obviously you're going to be able to earn Yam, you're going to be able to earn UMA rewards, and if you don't want to, you want to take off a bit of exposure of your actual punk without selling your punk, you can of course mint this, sell it, open a short position, so you've kind of hedged your punk exposure a bit without actually losing your punk. So yeah, really cool to see the Yam Synth dashboard, and I'm really excited for the products that will be coming out in the future to add even more value to the NFT space. So on that note, unless anyone has any questions, shall we dive into the metaverse and the Museum of Fine Yams launch?
Do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So Bruce, do we have a link for the gallery?
Yeah, I just posted a link to the gallery in the general chat. If you could click on it, and I'll share the password to the POAP Badge within CryptoVoxels, so you guys can jump in, and I'll pass it over. Hey Gareth, I see you here. I'm the pink cat. You guys jump in.
Hey.
Oh yeah, you can see me too. Yeah, for sure. Is this working for you, Tom? Do you see it on your? So basically, cool, welcome. So this is the Museum of Fine Yams temporary space, but basically it's a space for the community, space for you guys here. Initially, our first exhibit is this NFT collection, the Yam NFT, Museum of Fine Yams NFT collection, where we're giving away to community members who are participating, who are giving back to the community. We want to give back to you guys, so we're every month we're going to give out like these 1-for-1 NFTs to you guys here, and we want to use the space to also showcase like creatives within the space, within our community, like Bloku, designer, anyone here, Crypto Joe, folks who are artistically inclined, and also host events here. Like when uPUNKS is released, we'd love to do like a little like metaverse party, just like to celebrate the product launch and things like that. So let me post the password to the POAP Badge. Essentially, in general, you see this POAP bot. If you text him this password, cool beans, if you text cool beans to the bot will send you a link to a POAP Badge to claim. Password is cool beans. And I'll keep reminding you guys, I'll keep reminding the password throughout the tour.
I love this piece here, Bruce. Right at the entrance.
Oh, which one? Oh, the Daddy one?
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh yeah, we just finished it late last night. So yeah, so we're gonna give away we're gonna raffle away a piece at the uPUNKS launch party for the community. Cool.
I love the music.
This looks so great, you guys.
Oh, thank you. And if you go upstairs, there's a small like preview of the Yam Synths site, just like showcasing our 3 products that we're launching with uPUNKS, uStonks, and uGas. And we also have Nate's Mooncat Celery here too, hanging out. Cool. But yeah, feel free to wander around.
I can confirm the POAP works.
Yeah, I am blown away by this. Incredible work, Bruce, designing this and building it, and it's such an awesome design of the actual architecture of the building, with this glass roof once you get up here, and the floating yam. It's just perfect.
Yeah, I learned a lot from Gareth here, who's like a master designer in CryptoVoxels. He's been kind enough to give me a lot of tips like over the past like couple of weeks.
Oh, amazing! And we even have celery here.
Yeah, Nate's Mooncat. Yep. So if anyone hasn't claimed the POAP Badge, it's cool beans. There's no rush. The password expires in like 4 hours, so you have until then to claim the badge. But yeah, so essentially today we're gonna do like I love to showcase like the incredible work that Metaverse DAO is doing here, and we're also gonna do like a fun like field trip across like different spaces in CryptoVoxels.
Awesome. So shall we hand over and start exploring the metaverse? Let you guys take it from here.
Sure. Let me get my link for you all in the general. Honestly, yeah, that it's unbelievable gallery. I really love the statue of David vibe. I think that's amazing. Seriously.
Thanks, man. I kind of yeah. Those are really fun to make. I'm still trying to learn how to do Magic of Voxel, so it's rough.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. Awesome. Did you scan it in, or did you just do sort of building blocks from
No,
scratch?
I found a free statue of David, like a really nice OBJ one that someone else made, and I just adapted that into Magic of Voxel and then added the Yam on top.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I did notice. So you can there is a lot of sort of free voxels and things, and yeah, I mean we've done it. I think that's a really good way of doing it. Sort of adapt what other people make as well. So I'll just wait for everyone to come in. I sort of posted the first link in the chat. So we're going to do a bit of a whistle stop tour of Frankfurt, and then I'll sort of talk through some of the concepts around building in CV and the different types of spaces really that you can make. Cool. Just wait for everyone to come in. I can see, I can see Chill Zone and two of the Anons. Just wait for people to come in.
Folks, there's Gareth posted a link on in general if you wanted to jump into it. Oh, Bao Bao, the password is cool beans. Oh yeah, thanks Banana for DMing him.
Right, I think we could probably start. We've got a few people in here, so yeah. So what I've linked you to is sort of one of the DAO's more kind of completed builds. We've got a lot of building and a lot of property, and as sort of Chill Zone will attest to, it takes a bit of time to build because of all the detailing and everything. So what you guys are really standing in at the moment is what we call the Frankfurt Art Hub, and it's sort of a space that's kind of dominated by this big box gallery in the middle, but we also control this sort of red brick building and the parks as well. So the theory behind this really was that in CV, I really wanted to create a space that had kind of multiple use in it, but also create kind of cohesiveness within the space. So it's all kind of a work in progress. But oh, I can hear myself. Sorry.
Yeah, if we could mute our mics so we're not talking, guys, that'd be great.
Chidi, if you could please mute.
If I'm not satisfied.
Yeah, Chidi, would you mind muting your mic, Chidi? Thank you.
Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so I mean, on the right is sort of an example of like a wearables more effectively. So we've partnered up with Pop Wonder. I sort of created this building based on a lot of buildings from my hometown back in Manchester. We love the red bricks, and you don't really see many buildings in CV that try and ape the sort of real life look of buildings. And then all over Manchester it was sort of traditionally a cotton town at the start of the Industrial Revolution, so I wanted to create a space that kind of reflected that industrial feel. So yeah, the bottom floor Pop Wonders kind of moved in. He did a bunch of voxels there, and I think it looks pretty cool, the space. But if you sort of head up the stairs, we have spaces for another artist called BDCV. So we've got him on some pretty cool projects. We're hoping to have a jetpack as a wearable, so that will be here. But yeah, and we also have a sort of space upstairs as well. So the idea is that we'll have 3 main stores here, and then at the very top, I'm actually going to build a sort of portal station here effectively. And if you come to the top of the building, you'll see that we're right near the central core of Frankfurt, which is the tallest part in the game, really. So what you tend to find in this area, because the land is so big, and because it's in Origin City, is that a lot of the land is with sort of whales. So a lot of these whales are working with bigger companies to try and develop this land, because you can get quite a lot within the land itself. So over time, this particular area will really look something really crazy, to be honest with you, just with the kind of scope and scale there. Just so you guys know, you can actually click F to fly. So it's pretty cool to get a bird's eye view of the area here, and the skyline.
Are the sort of empty boxes, is that just my computer not rendering, or is that an empty parcel to buy?
So there's a couple of so you'll see this in a lot of metaverses where basically not all land is getting built on at the moment. However, there's a lot less in sort of the past 2 months in CV than there was. So it depends on the area. If you think a lot of these buildings are really quite large, you're talking about 20 meters high, thousands and thousands of voxels. So any project you develop on them, you need a solid plan to really utilize that space, kind of thing. So yeah. If you sort of head down, so the whole theory behind this district really was that you would have the retail aspect, and then also this gallery in the middle is part of sort of Accelerate Arts portfolio, and effectively, we run sort of art-based events here, and we're expecting to run them, over time, sort of, kind of constantly, I suppose, and sort of provide a space here for people to showcase their work, really. So if you follow me through the building, I can sort of show you the top. So we also have quite a nice kind of pool at the top here.
Which building are we in?
So it would be the box building with the big sort of
Big window with the art showing, the Accelerate Art building?
Yeah,
The
that's
black
the one. Yeah.
It has like a tree looking AA logo.
Yeah, that's the one.
I
So
love the exhibit.
oh, sorry, go on.
Just say I love the exhibit here with the photography.
Yeah, you tend to find there's not too much photography in NFTs. So, I thought it was quite a cool event. So, sort of all of this though is kind of managed within MDAO. So we have a big kind of footprint within Frankfurt, and the idea is really with the way that we build districts is that we come in and build the shells almost, like in other. Sort of in cities in real life, really, and then you have people that move in, maybe take a small subset or a small space within that, design that how they would like, and then you end up getting quite a full space that's quite dynamic. So that was the idea with this thing here. So yeah, I mean, so I have a black chest, if you guys can see. So what I'm going to do, see if I can sort of corral people. So do you guys want to return back to the square, and we can take a bit of a walk through Frankfurt? My name is Hello Gareth Doddy. So just so you guys know, you can also press Shift, and that makes you move quicker as well. Cool. Take a bit of a walk through the kind of skyscraper jungle here. So the building that you see in front of you, the big glass building with the huge kind of artwork and this really cool monument here, this is all owned by First Edition. This is actually probably one of my favorite monuments in the game. It really kind of captures to me that Blade Runner vibe, and you don't really get this when you're flying, but when you're sort of walking about, just to see the kind of scale of the kind of area that we're in. It is very cool there. So obviously First Edition have kind of a vault with art. We also have B20, which is this kind of pink looking building here. And they use this building to sort of showcase their vault. So at the bottom, you can see sort of, information point, and then you have a lift where you can view on various floors. So from sort of floor 3, floor 2 is their artwork, and then sort of on meeting floor, is where you get their kind of Twitch stream and meeting spot. So do you want to head to floor 1?
Oh, floor 1.
How do we get to floor 1?
So if you actually just click on the floor 1, you can actually sort of just jump up kind of thing. Like that. So you can sort of see, you can sort of see that, depending on the space that you have, you can really design some interesting concepts within here. We see a lot of the vault style thing, but obviously, within the space of cryptovoxels, I think a real big sort of usage here is for events, a meeting spot, and then obviously showing off kind of digital assets that you have and that kind of thing. But yeah.
How does, like, resolution wise for this kind of thing, is there a limit on the sizes of, I see there's like a bunch of details in smaller voxels making up sort of the arc shapes and whatnot. Is this like the smallest scale right now, or how does that all work?
It's a really good question. So you're limited because of the performance cost, really, of only having 5 megavoxels. So a megavoxel can be a really detailed, really big voxel. So what I imagine has been done here is that they've blown up effectively a megavoxel to be sort of people size, so that you can walk inside of it. So one kind of building technique that you can use is you design the whole building within magic a voxel, and then you then blow it up on your plot, kind of thing. What I see has been done here is that they're using a kind of hybrid approach. So the floor will be a kind of solid brick, but then they use sort of voxels throughout the building to add this additional detail. And just to give you an idea, I think you're limited to, I think it's over 500 voxels in a plot, the small 32 by 32. So whoever made this, actually, this is this would have taken really long time, actually, and you can sort of see it with the detail there. Cool. So I'm gonna.
I just love how the art is presented here. The way you go around a corner and down a corridor, and then there's the piece, and they really show off his work so well.
It's amazing. I think it really nails the whole vault vibe of the whole thing. I think it's really cool. So yeah, I've shown you a bit of Frankfurt. I'm going to give you a link to a different kind of development to sort of show you the range of things that are in CV, really. So just give me 1 sec. Just going to get the link there. So here we are. So if you guys could click the link in general, and we can go and explore effectively a different kind of plot. So I've shown you one of the bigger areas in the game, but I also want to display what it looks like when you have, you know, lots of smaller players that are quite talented all working together. So, you know, we've seen what you can do with huge spaces, but we can also see what you can do with a smaller space to create this kind of cohesiveness and stuff like that. So this is actually the San Francisco Riverside. So it's kind of like a small island just to the north of the main one. And you can see here on the, you know, with the pink tree and the lovely kind of architecture up top. This was a building designed by Lychee for Moids, I believe. So yeah, very cool. Very cool building here. But you also have, for example, you know, Zen mode to the right. And, you know, this is one of the places in the game where you can effectively walk almost like an entire block and see a, you know, a whole cohesive sort of space here. It's one of my favorites in the game, actually, San Francisco. Very cool. So yeah, I mean, one of the main things to do is, you know, these signs here, for example, is something that MDAO uses in their builds as well, is that these are all effectively teleporters. So, you know, you can click any of the numbers and see any of the kind of sub galleries and you know, sub kind of businesses that exist within this one plot. And this isn't actually too much of a huge plot. It's quite amazing what you can get into one space, really. Cool. So yeah, so that's Moids. What I would say is, like, definitely sort of you know, go check this link out a little more, and yeah, just see what you guys think of that. So I do have one more to kind of show. To show a kind of different style of build as well that you guys might like, just to kind of show you guys what's possible really within CV.
Awesome. Yeah. Love to see.
Well, I've just posted this in the general chat as well. There we are, so you guys can pop in. I should have really worn a wearable for this. Actually, I never thought of that. So yeah, we're over in Hiro, which is sort of the, you know, south central really of you know, of the origin city, which is the big island. And what you guys are actually in is, you know, multiple connected plots, but instead of creating, you know, like things like parks in between them, you know, what we've essentially done here is connected the plots up into one huge mega compound. So this actually bridges even across the roads, and really the purpose of this. So Tony is a member of the MDAO. He wants a space to show his sort of gallery of art. You know, big collector, but he's also provided a space for, you know, the Latin American art community. So, you know, over time, as this gets developed, you'll see huge collections of sort of Latin American art and NFT related sort of business and that kind of thing. But yeah, really cool spot. So, but I think the main point here is that, you know, I've shown you the very small, the very big, and then the absolutely giant kind of compounds here. One of the things we really like at MDAO is parks. So we want to incorporate that in pretty much every build basically that we do. Yeah, any questions, guys, about sort of some of the stuff that I've shown you?
I have a question about you've been dropping these links and we've been, what do you call it, teleporting around to different areas. And my question is about the difference between, let's say, like these most popular areas as opposed to new islands or new developments starting that may not be in the like traditional city core, so to speak, or the popular area. Does it really make a difference if you can just teleport anywhere anyway? It's kind of like space is compressed or eliminated in some sense.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, I still believe that where you are does actually matter. And it's really just down to the economics of agglomeration, really. In the same way that, you see corner stores next to each other or, hairdressers, things like that. What I'm seeing develop within cryptovoxels is different areas have different specialities. It's all very early. But for example, Frankfurt that I showed you has a number of mega developments going on at the moment that are sort of geared towards hosting companies and creating offices, for example, things like doing ICO launches from that space. Whereas other areas might specialize more in kind of, well, a lot of them do art at the moment, but yeah. So as the game kind of gets built, I think over time you'll start to see people combine ideas together effectively. I mean, for example, Midtown has a huge mall, which I own a plot. My neighbours also own a plot there, creating the mall, and I've kind of decided to follow their kind of idea there and try and expand the mall out kind of naturally, if that makes sense, and collaborate with them. But the kind of versus the main island, it's really just the scale. So the game's very early, but as they optimize the game and make it run better, look nicer, you'll find things like draw distance start to matter more. So when you're on the island, because everything's quite close, the kind of the fog of war almost of the game, you don't get a sense of the scale, but over time you should start to notice that OC is truly massive, kind of thing. I think OC will have, as it starts to get built, it will really showcase what the metaverse can do, whereas the islands are kind of like tiny pockets of that.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. It appears that there's this really cool mashup between some things that are real world oriented, like the ability to conglomerate and then have walk by traffic or walking through a city and discovering things you didn't know about. And then there's this like instant teleporting to another location, and the combination of the two is what really will become about. But it certainly doesn't mean that you only, in my opinion, have to be in downtown Manhattan or Soho or Greenwich Village or something. You could be kind of you could build something really cool in another area, and if you're teleporting marketing, and distribution of the teleport links are good, then you can pretty much build audiences pretty rapidly, even if you're not in the downtown core.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, what you tend to find as well is a lot of the new islands, because they're a bit cheaper, and because the game's gained a bit more prominence recently, is that they tend to be, as a percentage, more developed. If you are looking for a plot, you don't have to be sort of you don't have to go on the main island. If you find an island that's just been minted, and you're interested, it's well worth getting a plot there for sure. I've actually seen a really cool build where it's a subway from Gangnam, which is a really popular district, around art. Everything's kind of neon. It was really the first district to be built out, and a lot of that was due to async art, as sort of early pioneers buying up buildings and developing them. But it's an actual subway from Shenzhen, which is another location. But when you click the portal to go into the subway, you actually end up in a random part of the map, but they've blocked off the whole building. So, unless you're looking at the map, you don't know where you are, kind of thing. So it just creates this like natural extension. So you could have plots separated by 200-300 meters, and if you close them up, then you can essentially make them part of the same plot using teleporting, which I think is very, very cool.
That's fascinating. Yeah, very, very neat. Now, my interest in would be to build a gallery, but to probably to look at like an emerging area. And how is that possible to do to explore the emerging areas?
So what I would do is, if you follow the CV Discord, you'll see where the new islands are being created. So, San Francisco was quite popular because obviously in the crypto community, I would say the United States and sort of Canada are real big players still. There's more kind of crypto adoption. So obviously that area kind of blew up. But it can be hard to judge. But I've tend to find that most of the new islands actually do have quite a good amount of building. So vibes is quite good as well. So if you are kind of looking for plots, the best thing to do really is find an area that's just been created, because they release in waves going out from the center. See if there's buildings that you like and the kind of vibe that you like, and then if there is, you then sort of buy on the second round, for example, a plot there, and then start developing.
And just to add in there as well, it's totally fine to be patient. It can be a thing where as soon as you come across CV, you kind of want to FOMO into some land. But because they release new land on a weekly basis, it ends up being okay if you're able to wait it out, just bidding on good parcels to get something, more along the lines of good height is what I'm thinking, because that's really the scarcest resource in the game. So if you're on some sort of secondary island, like Gareth has said, there's usually a more active community because people are newly buying the land, building, interested in kind of shaping it. But yeah, because they release a new island about every month and then new waves of land each week, it's definitely worth waiting just to see what you can get versus jumping into something that's quite expensive. I guess it really does depend what you're hoping to do, but if you're looking at something that's completely new, that would be the strategy I would take.
Cool, thank you. So it just occurs to me that that there is no scarcity of land in the metaverse. And then that changes the dynamic in a way, which I haven't really grokked yet, but it's interesting.
It depends what you mean by scarcity. So, Crypto Voxels, for example, is actually one of the smallest metaverses. So in reality, there's only, I think, under 6,000 plots. And if you imagine, versus punks are considered quite a low mint for such a big, wide-ranging kind of project. And punks have 10,000, which is kind of double that. Other projects, though, such as the Sandbox, for example, their average plot size is, I think, 100 meters by 100 meters. And, to my knowledge, I think they have around 150,000. So different metaverses offer different sort of scales. The reason why we're quite a fan of CV really is that bigger doesn't always mean better. So, CV is already quite large, and the way that the dev mints land is totally based on demand, effectively. So if there's, prices start to rise too much too quickly, he'll mint new land, but it also ensures that a higher percentage of that land is developed at any time. So, a lot of metaverses are really, really empty, with kind of capital E at the moment. And, from my
What we also
perspective,
talk about, Gareth, that's worth adding is CV has what we think of as minimum viable land inflation. So Origin City is actually scarce. Like there's 3,025 parcels on it, and that's it. Where that creates that scarcity meme. If you want to own land that does not kind of increase over time, you can buy a parcel on Origin City. But with these islands constantly coming into existence, as Gareth has explained, you allow a lower barrier to entry for people who don't have as much funding. And so these things are all incredibly niche at this point, right? So if you really want to scale something, you need to have that entry point for people who don't have the money, people who are artists, this kind of thing. And so that's just one thing I want to add on as to why we're particularly bullish on CryptoVoxels.
Is that one of the big differences between CryptoVoxels and some of the others, like how land is released? And then second part of that question, you mentioned height is a limiting factor. How does height play into this?
Yeah, I'll let Gareth answer the height question, but as far as land, from what I understand, the other games have said, okay, here is a chunk of land, and there's a bit of a scarcity meme around it. With Decentraland, for example, there's 90,000 whatever plots. Come buy one, you're going to make money. Essentially, there's a limit to the amount of land we're going to have. And really, it kind of prices out people who are not going to hire builders and do something of real kind of high-end quality. Where with CryptoVoxels, because there's a lower price point, you still have people coming in and experimenting, which is key to kind of have organic community growth. And yeah, I mean, if there's kind of one thing I've learned in the last couple of years, it's just hard to ignore organic community adoption. And it seems like CV has the best kind of experience of that so far. But Gareth, do you want to speak to the height?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I mean the height being a scarce resource. So I've sort of shown you a variety of places. The difference between the size of plots in Frankfurt, Shenzhen, and Midtown, which are considered sort of mini city cores, is really quite large. So the average plot size on something like Peneki is maybe 100 meters squared by about 10 meters tall. And what that does is it basically means you cannot build the in-game building blocks above 10 meters, which is approximately 2 floors. But if you imagine in Frankfurt, in the city core especially, it ranges from anywhere from like 12 meters to 40 meters. So you can see that then allows for 8 floors, that kind of thing. So effectively what CV does is it makes its plots a bit smaller. But that also means that the density of the game, I think, improves because of that. So your average builder, if you want to pick up a plot, for example, in Sandbox, you've got such a big space that the work required to get it to a state where you could share that with someone else is truly enormous. I mean, you're looking at developing a miniature game, basically. Whereas in CV, because of those limitations, people get creative with the space. But not all plots are the same height. So, if you want a tall plot, you will be expected to, spend a little more for that effectively to get that added height.
Isn't that the sort of purpose? So like talking about like Sandbox, for example, isn't the purpose of that to be kind of almost like a Roblox style competitor, like where users are creating their own mini games on their plots and then
exactly. Yeah. So sorry, go on.
Well, it feels like space and sizing requirements and all of that is very functionality driven based on like what kind of gameplay the meta world is trying to encourage out of its users.
Completely agree. So, the metaverse is not a single universe. It's probably one way. It's not like a single planet. It's a universe of planets that exist. So, Sandbox is geared towards the gaming market, and therefore the plots, even the way that you move around the world, the fact that how you can interact with the game is varied versus something like CV. So each metaverse offers something kind of different. And MDAO, although we're bootstrapping on CV to start, we're actually completely agnostic to metaverse. And kind of like if you've seen Ready Player One, really, I expect there to be quite a few of these metaverses that all serve different functions effectively. CV to myself, it's basically a giant city. So I would consider that more geared towards more business functions, things like galleries, promoting, your business, that kind of thing. Whereas Sandbox will be, creating these games almost and having this kind of play space for people.
Where does Decentraland live in that? I just don't know enough about all these, so this is kind of fascinating. I'm an architect by trade, so I like look at this from that lens, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, thanks for that. So I personally, I think DCL and CV sort of compete more directly. So the Sandbox and CV don't really compete at all. I don't think Sandbox will be great for things like galleries in the same way that Cryptovoxels will, or creating that city feel, because the plots are all separated. So it doesn't have the open world in the same way that CV does. But DCL effectively is the same thing. The main difference I think between that is that voxels, the way that you build is very similar to Minecraft. So the complexity of getting a simple building up in CryptoVoxels is incredibly easy. But it also has a very high skill ceiling. So as you sort of develop your skills and use voxels more, you'll realize you can create some incredibly complex structures. So it has a very wide range of people that can build. Whereas something like DCL, their builder, although it's getting better, is based on polygons effectively. So it does lose a lot of the granularity that perhaps you can get with something like CryptoVoxels. When you really drill into it. But it also makes it a bit of a higher bar of entry and to really learn its systems and build on it well.
Interesting. And there are plans for, I guess, all of these to develop in terms of like capabilities. I'm sure it's sort of limited by bandwidth and rendering processing powers and stuff like that they're expecting on different people's computers, because it's all basically getting rendered in browser, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, CV, the way that I see it going is if you just go on YouTube and search Minecraft RTX graphics and then look at one of the videos. So I actually followed Minecraft, because I sort of played it as a teen. Big fan of the game when I was younger. And yeah, I mean, to see it develop over time was pretty amazing. And I consider CryptoVoxels at the point Minecraft when that was in beta. So it doesn't have strong lighting. The textures are a bit kind of low res, but you'd be surprised how much a good lighting engine will completely change the graphics, basically. So, I know that CV are developing sort of anti-aliasing, better lighting, just better representation of voxels in the world in general. So, in 5 years, CV should approach realism kind of thing and look really good. And the same process with DCL really, but from just looking at DCL, I think they always want to keep this kind of cartoonish kind of vibe to it effectively, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. You always run into uncanny valley issues, which always staying cartoony makes things never run into those issues. But yeah, it's super interesting.
So it's interesting that you bring up Minecraft, because like one thing that Minecraft has done in a really interesting way is just sort of diversifying the type and style of blocks, so that you can have kind of like these like triggerable or like mechanical blocks in a sense. Like I've seen like just like the things that people have been able to build have been really crazy. Like one person I think built like a working functional airplane that was kind of like this weird jury rigged like amalgamation of different blocks that had different special properties and could interact together like appropriately and whatnot. And does that kind of stuff exist for like CV? Is that is that kind of interactivity like, you know, in the pipeline or coming down the line as far as you guys are aware?
So from what I understand is that the current physics model of CV is functional. So it was created just sort of to serve the purpose of getting the game spun up. So it hasn't had too much work on it at the moment. But in terms of kind of interactivity, you know, you have sort of a scripting engine there. So, you know, that you can, for example, script the game to teleport you into the night version of CV. Now that's not actually in the game, but you're able to script that. I do know that there's a project right now to try and script a rudimentary kind of paintball. So CV is kind of like really a blank slate. It's going to take some skilled developers, I think, from the community to really bring that interactivity in. But you know, you can script objects to move, for example, around the world. You can script things to play when someone enters and trigger when someone does something. I haven't seen too many examples of that because it's all quite niche. And you know, if you're talking about metaverses, it's really like 1% of the crypto community that are engaged. But I expect these things to sort of improve over time, and you know, more people to get involved with increasing interactivity within the game.
Do you know what language that scripting is done in? Like, is it, because I know that, like, for example, like with Blender, which is open source, you know, 3D modeling software and animation software, all of that scripting is in Python. But obviously, in you know, on the blockchain, it's more Solidity based and like a variety of other things. But what's like, what is it all kind of built with, I guess?
Let me just quickly have a look. So I don't have the answer just to hand. Let's have a look.
All good. It's kind of nitpicky. So
No, that's fine. I mean, to me, it looks like it's done with Java. Would that sound about right? I don't know. What I'll do is I'll send over the page, and if any coder sort of you know, here with any coding ability, if you want to check this out and tell me what this looks like, so you can sort of look at some of the examples there. It's mainly focused on moving objects at the moment, though. So a lot of the scripting, you know, you can pretty much rotate an object, move it around the world in any way that you would like. So that's the main feature of scripting. But you know, from the things that I've seen and heard about being developed, is that it can get extremely complicated if you want it to be. So I don't know. Does anyone have any coding experience that could tell me what language that is?
Can we phone a friend and ask Rockland?
I tell you what, I'll ping Rockland and just see what he says about it. Yeah, I mean, it looks quite approachable. I think if you've done programming before, it should be quite approachable. Yeah, so it's JavaScript. So yeah, I was right. Yeah.
cool, awesome. And then I had a question. So one thing, like designer, you were kind of mentioning the scarcity question, and I will say just from my own experience, I mean, like, so Chili was kind of throwing me or showing me around like our gallery of Fine Yams, Museum of Fine Yams gallery the other day, and like I immediately like after I finished, like I basically just got lost on the island and like just explored like crazy. And but like, and I teleported a few times, but like for the most part, I was basically just exploring what was in the neighborhood because everything was just like eye catching and grabbing my attention. And I feel like that's where the scarcity kind of comes into play because it's like, well, what's in the immediate vicinity? Like I'm here, and if you can grab my attention while I'm here, then like I'm like much more likely to like come visit your plots versus um, versus teleporting somewhere else, unless I already have a destination in mind. But I think there's sort of that like scarcity via proximity, if that makes sense. Which you guys have kind of talked about or alluded to already. I did have a question about, because I saw a lot of like video like assets and GIFs and whatnot, and I was curious how it handles like textures and like image textures and like video content and whatnot. I mean, if it's like an NFT, I'm assuming it handles it differently, but any idea how it like what the limitations are as far as like video goes, like in on your plot?
Yeah, sure. Really good observation around the proximity scarcity as well. So you've got bigger sort of companies and organizations now within the CV metaverse. If you try and, for example, buy around the Bittree's development in Frankfurt, for example, you'll notice that there's quite a bit of price inflation. So both people buying and both people selling do consider that, and I do as well personally. I like to buy where there's something interesting going on. In terms of the textures, so it's effectively textures run buttery smooth, so you can add an almost infinite amount of still images and GIFs for that matter on your plot without seeing any significant slowdown. Where the slowdown really comes in is, if you create these enormous kind of voxel structures, these tend to introduce a bit of lag, so you have to be quite smart about what you use and when. And then also, if you have a video on the plot, you tend to get lag if you have to click it to sort of get it to play, or if you have a video that auto plays when someone enters your plot, you'll have a little bit of slowdown. But from what I understand, the CV team have put performance first. So you can run CV on your mobile, and it looks almost as good as the desktop. It will run on pretty much any computer. It doesn't need to be downloaded. So one of the things they're really interested in is how to get to the point where videos don't create this kind of lag. And I think they really lead on the being able to run it aspect versus kind of other metaverses.
And does the video or like the texture, like do those textures and those videos, do they count against your voxel limit for your plot, or is that just entirely separate?
Entirely separate, yeah. So a voxel's like an imported object. Well,
Okay.
it's a voxel.
Sorry, you already covered this earlier.
Yeah, no worries. But you'll find that as you're building, you have limits to certain types of assets. So you'll have limits on how many videos you can put up, and that's really just put up so that people can't make lag plots, basically, which is kind of like a weird form of griefing. Because if you're anywhere near a lag plot, and Midtown's a good example of this, where really heavy on voxels because they're such big buildings, that if you buy a plot near Midtown at the moment, you should expect some lag there just because everything around you is so crazy, kind of thing.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for answering my questions.
Hey Gareth, since KW710 mentioned follow up on the scarcity issue, I'm thinking about it in terms of there's two kind of aspects of scarcity in the metaverse. I may be totally off here, but I'll just throw this out. There's absolute scarcity and relative scarcity. So absolute would be the fact that there is no literal physics that define a limit on how many different worlds can be created and how many different spaces within each world. I mean, maybe it's limited only to the amount of hard drive space. But then there's relative scarcity, which is the scarcity that's created as brands, like especially exclusive brands, create scarcity, or the scarcity of a city block in a more popular area. And that relative scarcity is the most interesting because it's really like building brands, and that this spatial dimensionality is like a new dimension for branding. That's my takeaway that I'm getting right now is, and then the design space within that is absolutely phenomenally huge.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head there, really. There's a couple of examples I could give, but the UK, for example, where I'm from, it's a pretty big country, right? You can actually buy houses in certain parts of Wales, North Wales, for £1, which is, they're quite run down. They're in an area where there's not much work, and they sometimes fail to sell out. So it's like this council initiative to try and get these properties redeveloped and people to move back in. But sometimes they don't sell. But yeah, in central London, for example, the average house price is 500,000 times that. For like a 1 or 2 bed property. So I think the same thing kind of applies for metaverses and NFTs. There are countless avatar projects, and really, if you think about it from a structural point of view, NFTs are going to inflate forever, because anybody in theory could create an NFT or an avatar project, and there are probably hundreds a day that are generated, kind of thing. But you tend to find that value accrues to certain popular projects, and I think the same thing will apply in metaverse to a degree as well, because who's going to want to go to a metaverse where you're the only participant? Part of this whole thing is that metaverses, it won't be winners takes all, but there will be a couple of metaverses which essentially accrue most of the communities and most of the value there. So yeah, it's a very interesting kind of space. But people just love to create this kind of scarcity. We love to work together and agglomerate in a single space. So it creates this kind of dynamic there, which is kind of interesting. And Midtowns is a really good example, right? In the future, where metaverse has become a bigger part of the fabric of the world. This, for example, this huge mall that's being sort of devised and we're going to help work on, this will bring in perhaps hundreds, maybe thousands of people to that one spot, because you'll be able to find 50 to 100 stores there. Now, if you buy a plot nearby and then open up a shop, you're then going to get the footfall from that as well. So yeah, effectively, it's sort of a weird thing to look at, but in a way, you've got to make some educated guesses and try and figure out what's going where, and yeah, make your stake, really. So yeah.
That's really insightful. I think you guys are just positioned in such a wonderful area at a wonderful time. I really am getting a lot of a sense of the depth and credibility and knowledge of what you guys are bringing to the space through your answering of these questions. Anyway, just to follow up on what you said, it occurs to me that there's like there's this whole idea of traditionally in sales and marketing and business building is that there was that you need to find the customers. You find the customers first, and then you have a product that you supply to them. And that was always a dominant force until e-commerce came in and matured a bit more, and it's really exemplified by Amazon. And Amazon turned it on its head and said, no, all we need to do is get all the suppliers. And if we have all the suppliers, then all the customers will come to us. That's a bit of like it's like the mall idea on steroids. And I'm thinking, I haven't again got a solution here, but it seems like this is also maybe a critical piece, not exactly in that form, but applicable in the metaverse.
Yeah, I would agree. It's all developing, and I think kind of like the invention of the web, there's going to be certain models and certain business structures and organizational structures which will arise that you couldn't create before, which will change the game. So yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all still exploring, really. I'm really excited to see what kind of Amazons the metaverse will create there.
Well, I hope you guys are part of it.
Us as well. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's definitely going to be DAOs for sure. So you guys are doing an awesome job. Incredible insight as well. Was there any more questions, guys?
Only when can we start doing even more stuff in the metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, hit us up. I mean, MDAO is kind of like a boiler room for metaverse activities. If anyone on the call has any ideas, doesn't know where to start, just hit us up. Really, we're open. We're not a business. We're a DAO. So what we're trying to become effectively is almost like a guide stone, a form of governance within the metaverse. So we're very open to finding ways how we can create things that will effectively allow people to run with the metaverse, but also incubate various businesses and things. So yeah, just hit us up. Myself, Zolly, and Bobby are all in the MDAO. So yeah, we'd be happy to talk to anybody.
Hey,
Can
can
you
you
drop
start
a
with
Discord link?
Yeah.
I'm actually just pasting it now.
Awesome.
There you go. Yeah, really clean to see our communities cross bridge and could work together on this. So,
Yeah, and sometime next week I'd love to organize like a happy hour party, launch party for our uPUNKS product. Maybe we could like brainstorm on that and jam. And also get the Uma gang involved too.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, just hit us up.
Well, I wanted to thank you guys, Gareth, Sam, Ben. It's been awesome, and looking forward to seeing if we can move things forward at the collaboration. But just fantastic stuff. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gareth, for the awesome tour. That was so fun and thrilling to see. And also, if anyone needs the POAP Badge password, DM me afterwards. Any other questions from the community here? If not, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this wild adventure into the metaverse. Hopefully, we can do a lot more events in the metaverse in the near future. And if there's anything that you guys want to see done with Yam with our museum space, hit me up, and we'd love to like make this like a space for you guys, for the community.
Yeah, 100%. Really keen to build this out, and I think what we've learned today is definitely going to help us explore what we can do in the space. So yeah, thanks everyone for attending today. Thank you, Gareth, and you guys for this amazing guide rounds around the metaverse today. And yeah, really stoked for everything that's going to happen in the future. And also we have Yam Synths coming out very shortly, guys. Don't forget. So stay tuned for an update very shortly on that. Yeah, thanks everyone. I'll see you guys in the next call.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.